welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we will be joined by Mr. Vegas himself. No, not Wayne Newton. We're trying to get him in studio, but Johnny Katz is the next best thing. Who, what, and where? What's going on in Vegas this weekend? So we'll be talking about that. JD, not a bad win for UNLV Hoops, I must say, last night. I did think Boise State was going to win that game. Boy, I didn't watch a lot of Boise State this year, but they are bad. You want to talk about another coach who was on the hot seat? His name is Leon Rice. They are just atrocious defensively. And when it came down to it, the reason why UNLV won the game yesterday, they just made more shots. Botham had a fantastic game, probably one of the best college games of his career. But what do you make of this win? I don't think, and again, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think they beat Fresno, but I'm going to tell you right now, if they beat Fresno State this weekend, I'm going to give them a lot of credit because Fresno State is a top 100 team in the country. Do you think they beat Fresno State? I think the only way they beat Fresno is if they shoot lights out. They have to make their threes and shoot it at least a 50% clip.
Yeah, I agree with that. Fresno's very, very athletic. Boise wasn't overly athletic, especially at the guard position, and UNLV took major advantage of that. And you do have to give credit to Robotham for playing a his shot looked good. He looked quicker. They played well. But yeah, Fresno is they're not just athletic, but they're big and they're deep.
They are.
And Boise is the opposite of that. So we'll see. And I have Fresno winning this weekend by between 8 and 12 points.
And when you look at the schedule and you look at the games they got, they have a lot of winnable games coming up. They play Wyoming. They should win that game. They're on the road and they play San Jose State. They better win that game. And then, they go on the road and play Nevada. That's going to be a game that they're not going to win. But they have a lot of winnable games. They play Air Force at home. You would think they would be angry in that game after what Air Force did to them on the road. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll get back to a little bit of UNLV hoops, but the guy joining us on the line right now, we like to call him Mr. Vegas alongside Wayne Newton. That's right. He does a great job for the Review Journal, the who, what, when, and where of Las Vegas. It is Johnny Katz. Mr. Katz, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
How's it going?
Going good.
What's up, Johnny? It's been a little bit.
It has. Where are you at right now? I hear some background noise. So where's Johnny Katz?
There's some ambient noise, folks, or as we call it, just noise. I'm outside the Donnie and Marie Theater.
Nice.
At Flamingo, Las Vegas. I'm in the food court, actually, at Johnny Rockets next door to there. I'm going to go in and see those guys in a little bit.
Donnie and Marie. When was the last time you saw that show?
I actually saw her before the holidays, but before then it had been about a year. There's a few things going on, a few upgrades in the show. She's singing a new opera number. I'm interested in Donnie, too, because I think he's the peacock in that Masked Singer show. You watch
Really? I did not know that. I was
think he's
unaware.
a peacock.
Wow.
I believe he's a peacock. I'm not going to really buttonhole him about it tonight, but I think he's the guy. So anyway, I'm just catching up with them. They just got back from their break over the holidays, and then the first month of the year they take off, and they just got back last night. So
very cool.
Catching up with them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, so this is an interesting weekend, right? Because it's the weekend after the Super Bowl. We had a lot of people in town last weekend. Great boost to the economy. A ton of people come in for that. So this is a weird weekend, but yet you still got a lot of events, a lot of entertainment. Of course, there's always going to be great entertainment in Vegas. But so what do you got going on this weekend?
Well, let's see. I'm going to be here tonight. Tomorrow night, it looks like I'm going to see Chicago over the Venetian. And Saturday night, it's Lady Antebellum at the Pearl Concert Theater. They're opening their our kind of Vegas residency over there at the theater, and they're going to do a group interview. And I've talked to Hillary Scott, the singer from Lady Antebellum, for a story I wrote in Luxury Magazine a while back, and so I get to meet her in person. And those are the two big shows for me this weekend.
Hey, speaking of the Super Bowl, Johnny, how bad was that game? And do you think it was terrible for the NFL?
Man, it made me think that maybe the popularity of the Super Bowl might have crested in popular culture a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't there wasn't the snap of a normal Super Bowl. I put it on that halftime show was so substandard that it really, I think that was just indicative of the whole experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wasn't into it. I had money on it and everything. I tried to get into it, but we didn't have. It was an old team. It was an old feeling. It was just tired. I was at a great party. We were at the Westgate VIP party. That was really fun. That part of it. But
yeah, how good was that buffet, by the way?
You know what they say: if it's free, it's me.
So wait, you're telling me, Johnny Katz, that you weren't excited seeing the lead singer of Maroon 5 with his shirt off? Is that what you're telling me?
I read somebody said that it's time that the way to rebel now after seeing that halftime show was if you're clean with no tattoos, you're now the rebel. You are the rebel.
Yeah, I got an Iowa tattoo right above my navel 2 days after that.
I think I have a rule. If you sing with that high pitch of a voice like a Justin Timberlake, then the over-under, you should be allowed to have more than one tattoo on your body. If you're I don't know.
I think that's fair.
It was a bad look, and the thing about it to me, more than anything, was they didn't look interested. There was no passion from the performance,
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Maroon 5 a couple of times here in town, and they put on a really great.
They do.
Yeah. They do. I was just surprised at how lackluster it all was.
Let's be honest. They should have had Cardi B come out there. I don't know why they didn't. When she's in that song with
I
them.
think she turned him down, didn't she?
Oh, did she?
Wasn't she one of the ones who didn't want to perform?
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
that's right.
we talked about
I would
that.
like to
Yeah,
have seen that.
That
too,
actually
yeah.
affected the entire Super Bowl. Her not being there actually affected it.
you see that she
Did a good,
go ahead.
who did a good job was Gladys Knight on the national.
She was
anthem. I thought
fantastic.
really
she was
cool,
Well, she's a legend. She actually has enormous talent. She was a legend. You see Big Boy go in there with his vehicle and his fur coat. He's actually getting a lot of flack right now on social media for, wearing that jacket, that I guess a lot of animals lost their lives over. What do you think about that?
Oh, man. I don't know. That we're really reaching. I mean, Joe Namath. I just answered Joe Namath. He wore the fur. I think in this instance, you got to give him a pass.
Yeah. Was Namath sober, by the way? Was that the only day of the year he was actually sober? Because I know he was carrying the trophy to the stage. He was very slow carrying that trophy. I was worried about him. Johnny, did we lose you? Did we lose Johnny Katz?
I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I thought that he had quit that activity some time ago, but I don't know about the.
Who knows?
I've never met Joe Namath actually, so I can't speak to that.
All right, so Johnny, where am I eating this weekend?
Let me think about this. Have I ever plugged the Chicago Joe's?
No.
It's a little 8-table, maybe 12-table restaurant that's on Hoover Avenue. It's actually east of 3rd Street. It's open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think. It's a killer little Italian place. It's right there in the right off the Arts District, right in downtown Las Vegas.
I thought you were going to say go to the food court where you're at right now. That's what I that's what I thought you were.
I was expecting fashion show food court.
Well, Mr. Katz.
For some reason, I'm thinking of Johnny Rockets. I don't know why.
Johnny Rockets is pretty good. So I know you got a show to get to there, Donnie and Marie, and say hello to them for me. But before we let you go, give out some social media and maybe tell us a little bit about what article you are working on that we can preview.
You got it. Okay, I'm at Johnny Katz 1 on Twitter, or on Instagram. I'm sorry, and at Johnny Katz on Twitter, just Johnny Katz. The latest stories I've written, one was about the stage show Fuerza Bruta. It's an acrobatic atmospheric show that's going up at the Excalibur that opens in a couple of weeks. Actually, it opens Wednesday. No, it opens March 1st. I'm sorry. And it's a kind of a Cirque du Soleil-ish show that they're really excited about there. Another story that you guys are going to be excited about that I just posted is they're renaming a stretch of Clark Avenue in front of the Louisville Center for Cleveland Clinic Louisville Center for Brain Health after Robin Leach. So we called Robin.
Oh, that's
Leach
awesome. That's awesome.
So
That's very cool.
Details on that. That'll be named on March 15th, and I'll be emceeing that one. And so we're pretty excited about that for Robin and his family and all the people at the Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah.
He was very instrumental in the development of the Cleveland Clinic over there.
And I know you were close with him, and he used to come on my show every week, and we miss Robin. We miss Robin a great deal. It's funny, I was doing the AVN Awards. Me and JD were doing the AVN Award red carpet, and they actually put up a chair there and put his name on it because he used to love the AVN Awards. He'd go every year, and they actually put a chair there and reserved the first spot on the red carpet.
It just sat there
Did they
the
really?
entire
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty cool, and I think Robin would have got a kick out of that knowing him. He would have enjoyed that.
He would have loved it, yeah. A few weeks ago, I got my head, had a shrunken head over at the Golden Tiki.
I heard about that, yes.
Yeah, and he's one of the other journalists. I think he was the first one who actually had his head shrunk by Brandon Powers over there, and I saw his shrunken head. It made me a little melancholy.
That's cool. Yeah, we all miss Robin. He was so good at what he did, and he was a great guy. Johnny Katz, thank you so much again for taking some time to join us. Enjoy the show tonight, okay?
All right, Grill, it was great talking to you guys.
All right, thanks, Johnny.
See you, Johnny.
Johnny Katz from the RJ. Check out his stuff. He is the best in this town. I mean, he's the best.
Johnny Katz is the coolest cat in Vegas, and
He really is.
It's not even close.
He really is.
It's not even a conversation.
Yeah, he really is. So we were talking a little bit about UNLV hoops, and we were talking a little bit about the game last night. where they got off to a bad start, but they were able to come back. And I thought the game, JD, was all about making threes, making shots. That's what it came down to me. And, of course, I go on social media, and I'm saying, hey, they won the game. Good win. But let's not get a little crazy here. To me, and this is just my opinion, and you tell me if you disagree or not, I think this game Saturday, arguably, to this point, is their biggest game of the year.
Well, how many teams have they played in the top 100 this year so far, besides Nevada?
Not many. Not many.
Is it one?
Cincinnati. They played Cincinnati.
Cincinnati and Nevada.
They hung with Cincinnati.
They're 0-2. They lost to Cincinnati by
I think
5
they're one. I think Marvin Menzies, since he's been here, I think he's 1-3 facing top 25 teams. If I'm not mistaken, he is 3-27 against top 100 teams. That's horrible.
That is the most important stat.
Yeah.
3-27. That means he wins 10% of his games against top 100 teams,
which is not good.
That's unbelievably bad.
And Fresno State is a good basketball team. Hudson, who's the coach of this team, was an assistant coach under Dave Rice. And it's funny. I had several coaches reach out to me yesterday, and I don't think they would mind if I mentioned their names.
And let's think about this. Out of the top 100 teams, how many are making the tournament and the NIT?
A lot.
So that basically says that he would lose every single game against NIT teams and NCAA tournament teams.
You are judged as a coach. Are you getting the maximum out of the talent you have? Are your teams getting better from start to the end of the year? And talking about Marvin Menzies and UNLV, and I try to be as honest as I can. I want UNLV to succeed. I never root for a coach to get fired. With that being said, year one, he took over a horrendous situation. But did the team get better? The answer is no. From the start of the year to the end of the year, year one, the team did not get better. That is very important. I don't care if they finished last in the conference. Last year was a complete disaster. You had McCoy, who at one point, I believe, will be an NBA player, star recruit. You had Houston, a healthy Houston. You had Johnson as our point guard, who at one point I think was third in the country in assists. You had JoJo, who, still was a senior, still was capable.
He was a combo scoring guard. He was very capable of scoring. He was very athletic.
And you had Clyburn, who's had a decent year this year, who I think will be getting paid to play somewhere. That was a really good team last year.
Clyburn off the dribble this year has been very, very good.
He's gotten much better.
His left hand is really tough for teams to stop.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is extremely underachieved last year with this team. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let's keep in mind they had the best recruiting class in the Mountain West Conference last year. That year was atrocious last year. Terrible. So I go by the last 2 years. I go by his resume at New Mexico State. Did he win a lot of conference championships? Absolutely. Never won an NCAA tournament game. Never. He was 0-12 at New Mexico State against top 25 teams in the country. Folks, these are facts. I have my opinions, but these are facts. My opinion is I think he's the wrong guy for the job. I've been very consistent with that. Do I think he's a horrible coach? Do I think he's no. I've never said that. I just think he's the wrong guy for this job. And this is a very unique job, and I think UNLV Hoops is on the brink of not being relevant anymore. So I talk about that on social media, and the majority of the people actually agree with me, but I do get some that disagree, and that's fine. I don't mind having a good debate when it comes to UNLV Hoops. I would like to think we all want the same. We all want UNLV to succeed. We all want UNLV to get better. Don't think this is the right guy for the job.
And why is that? Because it's much more fun to cover a winning team.
Absolutely. And, I really pull for Tony Sanchez. I really want him to make a bowl game next year. But if he doesn't make a bowl game, he's got to go. So what happens this year? Let me ask you guys this question out there, and I'll ask you, JD, the same question. What happens at the end of the year this year? Let's just assume that he finishes fourth. I think that's best case scenario in the Mountain West Conference. Let's say he finishes fourth. He's not going to finish ahead of Utah State. Don't think he's going to finish ahead of Fresno. We all know Nevada's going to win the conference. Best case scenario, he finishes fourth. Again, that's best case scenario. Fourth, fifth, or sixth. Probably going to finish somewhere around there, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think they're top three at this point.
Yeah. So let's just assume that happens. And they win one game maybe in the conference tournament. I also think that's best case scenario. They win in the quarters and then they lose in the semis to either Nevada or a better team. I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think that's a fair assessment. So if that does happen, is there anybody out there listening right now that would believe that Menzies deserves to come back for next year and that he's earned to come back for next year? They're going to have to pay him an extra $100,000 next year if he comes back. I believe to buy out his contract, is somewhere around the vicinity of $800,000.
It is exactly $800,000.
Yes. I say if I believe, because I'm not, like you said, I'm not. It might appear that I'm always right, but I'm not always right. So Is there anybody out there that believes that Menzies deserves to come back next year in that best case scenario, which I think I was being very logical? Or do you think we have to let him go, got to bring another coach in there? And who do you guys think would be a great replacement? I've given my opinions on that, but I like to hear others out there. Do you think Menzies comes back next year? No, I don't. If you ask me right now, no, I don't. The number to call, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Oh, and by the way, speaking of UNLV hoops, it's going to be a great pleasure tomorrow to have in studio Danny Tarkanian. Danny's going to be coming in tomorrow. And obviously I'm going to ask him about UNLV hoops. One of my questions, one of the first question I'm going to ask him is, what would your father think? The late, great Jerry Tarkanian. Walking into the Thomas and Mack Center and seeing maybe 3,000 people in the stands. What would your father think about that? Jerry was very...
And that's going to be a very interesting response.
Yeah, well, Danny's going to be honest about that. His father was around the program when they hired Dave Rice. His father's always been around the program and always supported the program, but he supported the hiring of Dave Rice. Of course, Dave Rice was one of his players. It just didn't work out, man. That's just the bottom line. It just did not work out. But certainly I'm going to ask him about that. And, we're going to get into politics with Danny. There's no question about that. We are absolutely going to get into some politics with Danny, who is on the right, who's a Republican, but he's honest, and I respect his opinions. Got a lot to go over with him. But the bottom line is, how can you be happy if you're Desiree Francois? How can you be happy with a team that finishes fourth or fifth in arguably one of the worst conferences in the country? How could you be happy with that?
Well, you could be happy if you are looking to move elsewhere very, very soon. And you were just trying to do nothing in the interim, make no mistakes, make no big moves, and just ascend up the ladder. And that could be the case with her.
I'm going to be very, very
on her
surprised.
path to a different job as an AD somewhere else.
But you could also take the other side of that and say, well, she wants to make an imprint here.
Hey, I agree with that as well.
So, I have no idea what's circulating in her head. I have no clue. I do believe that if Tony Sanchez lost his last 3 games of the year, I don't think he would be here. I think winning that Nevada game sealed the deal for him to come back next year. I do think that. I'm assuming that. Even with the Fertitta connection, yes. I do believe that he probably wouldn't be here. Desiree Reed-Francois is probably going to have one of the most difficult decisions she's had in her entire career at the end of this year. Make no mistake about it. They're not winning the Mountain West Conference tournament. It's just not going to happen. Nobody's beating Nevada. Are they going to even make the semis? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that.
I'm not sure anybody in the country is beating Nevada, and that includes in April.
That's true. Let's open up the phone lines. Again, the number to call, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Talking a little UNLV hoops before we get to Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports, who's going to join us in the next segment. You might be surprised. There are some Patriots players that are going to be going to the White House, some that are not. So we'll get to that with Mike Babcock coming up. Talking a little UNLV hoops. Why are you not showing up to games? Do you think Marvin Menzies is going to be the coach next year? Your thoughts on that, 257-5396. Let's go to Scott. Scott, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, Scott?
Gentlemen, good. I do think, not that my opinion matters for anything, but I do think he returns for a 4th year, and the main reason being, I think ADs are afraid to fire somebody. In general, there are no rumors of any wrongdoing at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas basketball program right now, meaning their GPA is solid, guys are on track to graduate, and there's no recruiting violation.
And that's a good point.
So
and she's actually made reference to that several times.
Or there's about 15 other schools that are being intensely investigated by the NCAA, and a lot of stuff can come down. None of that is on UNLV right now. So if you're going to fire a guy, I think that's it. Are you graduating players? Yes. Are you in trouble with the NCAA? No. Okay, we'll give you another year.
I agree with you to a certain extent. You're right. UNLV is not a part of any of that stuff. However, people aren't showing up in the stands, and the majority of the fans, let's just call it reality, they don't care. The majority of these fans are season ticket holders. The majority of these people do not care. You know what they want? They want a good basketball product. We don't have that. They want wins. We don't have that. It's arguably one of the worst conferences in the country. So while I don't necessarily disagree with you, Scott, I'm going to tell you right now, if they finish this season 4th, 5th, or 6th in conference, the season's over, no postseason. I know what a lot of his supporters are going to say, Scott, because I argue with them on Twitter every day. They say the team is young. You got to give him another year. He took over a horrible situation. blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is Lon Kruger took over a horrible situation here. You know what he did, Scott? He got them into the NCAA tournament by year 3. He was winning Mountain West Conference tournaments. I mean, that's, and again, you could say, well, Lon Kruger, Marvin Menzies, night and day. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. But with that said, this is a difficult decision, Scott. This is a really difficult decision. And when you talk about positives, you're right. Francois was on the show a few weeks back, and she mentioned the grades and all that stuff. And I congratulated her for that. I congratulated the student athletes for that. But guess what? The majority of the fans don't care. That's just the way it is.
And she also answered Mark Anderson. She said, we're doing it the right way, which is exactly what you're attributing to. I mean, that's what you referenced.
So you fire him March 15th.
Yep.
You take another month. You interview people at the Final Four.
Well, that's a mistake.
April, you hire somebody April 15th, and then 4 guys transfer. Where does that leave you?
Well, that's a mistake.
Scrambling, aren't you?
Scott, I think that's a mistake. I think if I'm the athletic director, which clearly I'm not, you have to have some names in mind right now. Right now is the time that you're contacting people. Hey, we don't know if we're going to make a coaching change or not, but if we do, would you be interested in this job? You got to make I'm not saying you interview coaches right now, but you have to be talking to agents right now. You have to find out. I am sure that they reached out to Rick Pitino, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a pipe dream for a lot of different reasons. That's all I'm saying, Scott. You have to be making that, assessment now.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will. Thank you for the call, Scott. All right. Appreciate it.
Great call, Scott. You are turning into our JD of basketball.
There you go. 257-5396, the number to call again, 702-257-5396. Talking a little UNLV hoops. Let's go to Brad. Brad, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, Brad?
Oh, hey, thanks for taking my call. I already called tonight. I know your rule is don't call twice.
That's okay, night, Brad. That's all right.
This was so enticing. I had to call. The Knights are such a great story. They bring a winner here, and look at the result. Look at the response. I think UNLV, exactly what you're saying. They need to get another coach, overpay if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can get any input from a Calipari or somebody like that, but junior college transfers, one and done NBA prospects. This place is ripe for.
Yeah. There's no excuse. There's no excuse why they can't. This should be the easiest place in the world to recruit. So there's no excuse why they're not getting great players, Brad. And by the way, thank you for the call. Got to get to some other callers, Brad. Appreciate that. There's no excuse. Zero. And this is year 3. And if people want to make it out to be like year 1 of Marvin Menzies a wash, that's fine.
And last year they had, Brandon McQuaid, he was a number 10 player in the country. He was a 5-star kid. Houston was a high-rated 4-star kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he hasn't been able to recruit. It's just a matter of development and catering his system to his players, which he does not do.
No, and I just don't see him as being the right guy for the job. But again, let's see what you guys think out there. 257-5396. Let's go to John. John, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hi, John.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
On firing these guys and things, I think they should get rid of Sanchez as well. But I understand that Fertitas has a big investment in both of these guys, and they're not going to let him go.
Yeah. Well,
if I had a suggestion, it would be bring Bobby Knight out of retirement, bring him up here for a couple of years, get this program on the straight and narrow, and then let him go back into retirement.
Well,
but then we're looking for other guys.
All right. Well, hang on, John. Let me just address what you just said, John. Bobby Knight's not coming here. Bobby Knight's not going to be coaching again. Number one. But as far as the Fertitta connection,
how old is Bobby Knight? Is he 90?
He's up there. As far as what you just said about the football program, he has to make a bowl game next year, or he's done. I guarantee you, 100%.
Thank you. I agree with you. He should be done this year.
And you know what, John? If he doesn't make a bowl game, with the Raiders Stadium being open to UNLV, a big-time coach is going to want to come here too.
That's possible. It's possible. Yep. John, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for taking me.
Sure.
Hey, thanks, John.
257-5396. Again, 702-257-5396, the number to call. We got Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports coming up here in just a few minutes, where he's going to kind of share with us. Tom Brady was asked the question, are you going to be going to the White House? Find out what his response was. And there are a few players on the New England Patriots that have said that they are not going to the White House. We're going to find out who those players are. They do such a great job at TMZ. They really do. They're so awesome. But, again, in regards to UNLV, we all want the same. At least I would hope we all want the same. We want them to succeed. We want them to win.
We want a reasonable buffet, before every game and after every game.
You're talking about the media food. Nobody cares about that. Not everyone's in the media like us. Nobody cares about that.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Not a lot.
Let's go to Bill. Bill, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, guys. Good evening. You know, the thing that I would like to really see if somebody could possibly speak off the record with Lon Kruger.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what's going on. He's not going to come back here. Somebody could say, hey, Lon, how about drawing up 7 or 10 names that you think?
I got a name, Bill.
Here?
I got a name. How about his son? I would totally support
Perfect.
Kevin Kruger. He was a great player on the floor. He's learned from his dad. He's been an assistant coach. Yeah, I think I would actually be okay with that. I would think Kevin would be a good hire.
The other problem with Kevin is
she likes somebody. She likes the kids graduating with good character.
Yeah,
he is a good example because he's been around his dad, and those kids would do good.
And he'd be cheap.
Hey, Bill, that's a really good point. My only question on Kevin is, can he recruit?
Well, you got to hire the right guys around him. You got to hire the right guys and the right staff to do it. But Kevin, here's the key word, Bill, money. He would be cheap. This would be his first job. Usually, I am not for hiring a guy who's never been he's never. That's why I wasn't big on Bill. I'm sorry, I wasn't big on Rice, Dave Rice.
You said Bill O'Reilly.
I almost said Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, I got Bill as the caller. I don't know why I said that, but I wasn't big on Dave Rice because he'd never been a head coach before. But I got to tell you something. With Kevin Kruger, I think it's different. Basketball, his whole life. And his father being Lon Kruger, he played here, just like Dave Rice played here. But I like Kevin.
Get his dad to give him advice on things. His dad's not going to coach forever when his dad retires, or even when he's coaching, he can speak with his dad.
Not
have a great mentor. Be a perfect choice. Very good.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate the call.
Hey,
all right,
call, Bill.
I would be all for Kevin. I really would. And there's not a lot of guys that I would support right now, but Kevin would certainly be one of them. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, what players have decided they are not going to the White House from the New England Patriots? Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will give us that answer next. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.